Hi, I'm Anthony Amarello, host of the Paving New Roads podcast, coming to you from the penthouse at the Andes on the Sunset Strip in West Hollywood, California. And today I'm sitting down with Sarah Tiana. She's been a writer on almost all the Jeff Ross roasts, the roast of Tom Brady, and even the ESPYs. You're going to love the episode. Thanks for tuning in.
I did not know I was funny.
I just wanted to be funny.
I like with Psycho.
Twice as good as Spielberg.
I don't know what your podcast is called, but it would be like Paving New Roads.
When did you start comedy?
When did I start? I
Yeah.
haven't started yet. In like an hour, I'm going to start.
Yeah.
I started stand-up in 2003 on a dare.
On a dare.
Yeah.
You're the second guest to start on a dare.
Really?
Chappelle Lacey.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Chappelle Lacey said his friends in college were like, you have to do it. They double dog dared him to do it. And so were you also like in college? How old were you?
No, I had moved out here. I moved here in 2001.
For what?
To be an actress.
Oh, my God.
And then I couldn't catch a freaking cold out here. And then, no, I was DJing weddings and bar mitzvahs at the time.
You were DJing?
Uh-huh.
Was it in this white blazer?
I was pushing play. Yes.
What were some of your DJ hits?
I did not have any DJ hits. We used mini discs back then, and I was DJing like, weddings, bar mitzvahs, high school dances. I worked for a company called Feet First Eventertainment.
Oh my God.
And this guy that I DJ'd with, Poetry, that was, his name's Devin, but he went by Poetry.
Did you have a stage name?
No. No.
Was it Slam?
The only reason I was even a DJ was because I had experience playing music because I worked at my college radio station.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I did not know I was funny till I moved out here. And then Poetry, at the time, he was on Russell Simmons' Def Poetry Jam.
Oh, wow.
So he was traveling the country doing that and he was a slam poet. And
Wow,
he
I'm
was
so sorry I made that joke now.
No,
this guy rips.
So he just kept saying, "You're so funny, you're so funny." And I'd never heard that. Like I'd always made people laugh, but I was really sarcastic, and in the South doesn't really understand sarcasm.
Sure.
I'm from Georgia, so even though we invented it, like "bless your heart" is literally the most sarcastic thing you can say to somebody.
That's basically saying, "Oh, sweetie."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. Bless her heart. She ain't never going to find a man. And so he was just like, "You're so funny. You're so funny. You really have to do it." And then he wouldn't let up. And then finally I was watching the news one night in my little studio apartment on Laurel Canyon, and I saw this news story about a guy that like shot himself with a nail gun, and it went like through his eye socket up into his brain, and he worked the whole day.
Oh, this was in Happy Gilmore, right?
Yes. Yes, I wrote Happy Gilmore way before anybody else thought of it.
Yeah.
And and then I wrote a joke about how I wouldn't be able to feel 3.5 inches if I got nailed, so what's the big deal? And that was like the first joke I ever wrote, so I had something. And then I went and performed at this little open mic at the Hot Wired Cafe, which is on Laurel and Riverside.
Ooh.
Nick Youssef was ran the open mic.
Nice little name drop.
Yes. Is that a name drop? Okay.
Well, you dropped it, and it's a name. So.
And so then I was kind of off and running, and I didn't really take it seriously. It was just like a way, because I had done theater my whole life, so being on stage felt very normal. It didn't feel like I wasn't really nervous. I was just more anxious.
Were there any transitions from theater to stand-up that you didn't see coming? That, you know what I mean? You thought, oh, this will translate? Or did it all just translate?
No, I think it was just like, I think what I loved so much about stand-up was that if it went bad, it was only my fault. Like there was no one else to blame. But if it went well, I got all the credit.
You do love that kind of stuff. Yeah. Hell yeah.
So the stakes were a little higher, you know? But I had
That's
been on
like that
stage.
joke you have where you're like, I need sports because it needs to make sense.
Yeah, it's the one thing in my life that's fair.
Right.
You know,
right.
when you work in a business that's not fair, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how long, first of all, did you like love it when you started, or was it like
No.
something that grew on you?
It grew on me. I mean, and I didn't really think much of it, you know.
Really?
Like people told me to do stand-up, and I was like, but I don't have a sitcom. Like I can't do stand-up. Like I didn't
Yeah.
understand how it worked. And I had been doing it about 6 months or so, and then I had decided to give up on LA. I was going to move to Wilmington, North Carolina, where they shot Dawson's Creek,
Oh my God.
and I was going to go make it there.
At the creek.
Like this isn't quitting if I moved to Wilmington. And then I packed up my stuff and I went to see a movie. And the movie I wanted to watch wasn't playing, but this movie Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld was.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, I've done some stand-up and I love Jerry Seinfeld, so I'll go watch that. And everyone in the theater was laughing and I was crying. And I was like, oh man, I think I have to stay. I think this is a sign. So
Oh my God.
I went home and I unpacked and I started stand-up full-time the next day. Like, you know, pursuing it
Yeah.
every night.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You were literally, first of all, such a wild move to pack your things, then see a movie. Like, what were
I was
you
just
going home?
tired.
Were you going to North Carolina from the movie? Like,
No.
just
No, I had started packing because I knew I was going to move. And, yeah, I was just tired. And, the end of the night, you're like, well, I'll just go do something.
Are you still a DJ at this point?
Yeah, I think so.
How long did you DJ for? And do you still talk to poet?
I do talk to Poetry every once in a while. I have not talked to him in a while, but I did keep in touch with him for quite a long time, and I always gave him credit.
I mean, you have
for
to.
helping me start. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Truly.
Yeah, he still did a lot of that, and yeah, it was a wonderful experience. It just kept me. It made me feel like I was doing something creative.
When did you get out of DJing? When'd you hang up the headphones and the mini tapes?
Do you ever? Do you ever?
Now you're just DJing for your kid.
Well, you know what? I had a really good niche going because I used to DJ commitment ceremonies before gay marriage was legal.
Whoa.
And so they always wanted a woman, and I was like one of the only women that could do those.
That's like the ideal like DJ gig if you're doing like bar mitzvahs, weddings and stuff,
Yeah.
like a gay wedding.
Yeah.
They're there to have fun. Nobody's mother-in-law,
Absolutely.
brother-in-law, you know what I mean? No one's throwing a fit. Those seem like the best
No,
weddings.
everyone wanted to be there, and at the time, if you were showing up to a gay commitment ceremony, then you were going out of your way to be supportive, and you were not leaving, and you were staying the whole time. And when you DJ,
Yeah.
you're not just playing music. Like I'm organizing the whole event. I'm helping them plan the event from start to finish. So I'm not necessarily a party planner, but I'm introducing them. I'm letting people go to
Right.
the buffet, when the bride and groom aren't in the room. I'm doing games with the whole crowd, So I'm teaching dances,
Dang.
It's like cha-cha real slow now.
They do that on Hollywood Boulevard now. Did you know they just That's crazy.
No.
That you just didn't ever think that you should be on stage at that point.
I didn't think I should be on stage as a comic. I didn't really understand it.
But that's what you're doing at that point.
Yeah, and it's crazy that I never really made the connection because even in college, when I worked at the college radio station, I had started college. I went to UGA as a journalism student because I thought, I'm going to be on CNN, right? And
Yeah.
then, but I was working at Six Flags over Georgia, and that's why I ended up transferring to Georgia State downtown because I was leaving Friday afternoon after my statistics class, driving to Six Flags, performing in shows all weekend, and not getting back till Sunday night. So I didn't really have a campus life. And then, I just happened to take a class at Georgia State with the GM of the radio station, and that college radio station happened to be, when we talk about 10,000 hours, right? It's like you
Yeah.
have to be in the right situation around the right people. And like I was in a class with the GM of the radio station, and he sat next to me, and we were friendly, and he's like, you should be on the air. And I'm like, all right. And so I started doing the news, but I was making jokes. And they were like, you can't make jokes about the news. It's serious.
You're like,
And I
what's
was
the
like,
deal with 9/11?
No,
Yeah.
it was during the Lewinsky scandal. So it was like, how can you not make
Yeah.
some sort of quip?
Yeah.
And then they go, but if you want to make jokes, you can do the entertainment news, and you can make all the jokes you want. And then from there, my advisor was like, well, why don't you just major in film, and then you can minor in theater, and then you'll learn a little bit more about the entertainment business. And so that kind of helped me do that. And then the GM of the radio station and by the way, that college radio station was the largest student-run college radio station in the country.
Wow.
And so we were 100,000 watts. We were, it was very famous. It still is a very famous, like, indie rock station in Atlanta. And we were interviewing comics that came through the Punchline. And the very first comedian that ever gave me tickets to a show was Mitch Hedberg.
Wow.
And people always go, oh, is that when you decided to do comedy? And I'm like, you don't watch Mitch Hedberg and then go, oh, I can do that. Like, I was just like, oh, that's very cool. I have no idea how that works. And I just moved on with my day. Like,
wow.
But yeah, so.
What were some of the other jobs outside of DJing you did before you were just like a full-time comic?
So after I hung up the headphones, so to speak, I mean, I was doing extra work. That's how I got my SAG card.
Okay.
So I extra in tons of movies.
What were some of the movies? What were the ones you remember? I remember the ones I was in.
Gosh, I was in so many. I was in this like Cameron Diaz, Christina Applegate movie, the Sweetest Thing. That's where I actually got my last voucher. I was in that Jim Carrey movie, The Majestic, which
Didn't
was like from like the 60s or something. Y'all had to be in period costume and stuff. I did a lot of CSI. I did a lot of ER.
Were you just at the computer typing away in the back in CSI?
All kinds of things.
Do you ever see yourself doing background work on?
Every once in a while. Like, Gilmore Girls was maybe the big one where I like got a character name and stuff. And, I was like, you're like kind of brought through like a few episodes. It's the same character, so to speak. Right. So, yeah, I did extra work for a long time. And then
Were you Cindy the Mean Girl? What were you?
I don't remember. They went to tour a college and they broke into my dorm room. And Lorelai and, whatever. I don't remember who was with who. The mother and daughter like broke into my dorm room, and then, that was a whole thing. So I did Gilmore Girls quite a bit, and then I met a guy when I was doing extra work, and he worked at the Four Seasons, and he got me a job at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills, and that kind of like started my waiting tables career, which was amazing because I worked for the Four Seasons and then the Beverly Hills Hotel for probably 7 years, and that I made so much money. So I didn't have to like sleep on couches or really rough it. Like, I always lived alone. I always like had a really good job, and I got free nights at all these really fancy hotels all over the world. So whenever I needed to, the Funny Farm in Atlanta wants you to host, but they're not going to put you up, I'd be like, all right, well, I'll just use my Four Seasons nights. So the headliner's staying at the Marriott and the host is staying at the Four Seasons.
Yeah, Marriott's, that's a push too. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's the Days Inn. What was your first writing job or stand-up gig that you were like, okay, maybe I can leave being a waiter?
So I actually started booking commercials, and that's kind of what helped me leave the actual business.
What commercials?
The first commercial I did was an Activia commercial with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay.
And Matt Nost,
Activia,
who is a comic here at the Comedy Store, and we played husband and wife, and it was like a New Year's resolution kind of thing. And then I booked a Walmart campaign, and then I booked a Navy Federal commercial, which ran for 12 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get paid through the whole 12?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
It's literally given me my SAG insurance for like 12 straight years.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I got very, very lucky. And then, from there, I was just kind of doing stand-up, and you do the route, which the route is you do open mics, and then you do bringer shows, and then you run your own room to trade for spots. And I was doing that all at the same time that I was waiting tables. So when I worked at the Four Seasons, I worked at the pool. Sebastian worked at the bar downstairs. We would see each other all the time in like the dining area.
Which hotel was that?
The Four Seasons.
So you and Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah.
What a time.
Chopping it up, yeah.
You're getting fed by Sarah Tiana upstairs, and then you're getting some drinks from Sebastian downstairs? Yep. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. But I worked during the day, so I would be I'd probably set up like 6:30, 7 in the morning, and then I'd shower at work and then go out and do stand-up the rest of the night. And that's, when I had the energy to do that.
Yeah, yeah. You are a hustler. You gave me advice one time, which made me think you were psychotic, but then but then made me realize like why you are so good at what you do. Which was, you said, when I get into a writer's room, I'm immediately just going for the big guys. I'm not, I'm not even messing with the people in my round. I'm trying to get, and then you were telling me games that you used to play, where you got head writers to think it was their idea, but it was your idea, and then.
Well, I would just sit next to the most, I would say, the writer with the most experience. Not necessarily the head writer.
Sure.
The head writer, as the head writer, I could tell you we do not always have the most experience. You sit next to the guy that works all the time, but that's kind of a curmudgeon, and is like, but their jokes always get on. And then I would sit next to them, and I would like just try to like learn as much as I possibly could by sitting next to them. And then I would run my jokes by them because I knew they had a better chance if I had this confidant within the joke. Like if I had somebody support to back me up. Because sometimes as you're in a writer's room, like a lot of times what happens is like you'll get an assignment like, okay, we have to write jokes about the two-headed girl, right?
Sure.
And so then it's like everybody goes off and you're writing all these jokes, and then you send them all in, and then as a room we go through them, and then they bold the ones that everybody likes. And so you have a much better chance of your joke getting bolded, or not just skipped over, but just like, oh, maybe they'll fix it a little bit. Because a big part of writing is just like learning to edit. It's not that you don't know what the punchline is. It's finding the most direct route to the punchline.
Sure.
So, I mean, I loved math growing up. So to me, joke writing is just math. So it's like, and then sometimes you're like, there's too much math in this joke. Like it's too hard to understand. We have to get to it so much faster.
Yeah, totally. Wow, that's a really simple way of
those
explaining
people
that.
would always really help me like subtract, basically. You know, like let's just get to the equals faster.
Who was your favorite person to like learn from, writing wise?
One of my favorite writers that I worked with was Alex Bays, who I believe was the head writer, is still a head writer of Seth Meyers.
Oh,
and so I learned a lot from him, from the ESPY Awards and stuff like that. David Feldman was a great writer on The Burn with us. Chris Regan, who's now on Family Guy.
Wow.
And he's been around forever. Just like, lots and lots of incredible writers.
And what's your favorite project you've worked on?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It seems like a meatball softball question, but then people think about it, and it's tough to pinpoint.
I mean, obviously the roasts are their own beast, you know. But to me, The Burn with Jeff Ross was my first gig, and that will kind of always be my baby, because that was when we really got to just like do so much fun stuff. And
how'd you wiggle your way into that writer's room?
So again, running rooms, that's the trajectory, right? And so at the time, the roasts were just starting to catch fire, right? There was like the Larry the Cable Guy, I think, roast. I can't remember what was even before that, but like they were starting to catch some heat, and Jeff would come into the room that I ran, which was at this place called the Unknown Theater, which is also where the goddamn Comedy Jam started. It just like happened naturally. So it was like this big warehouse theater, and you never knew what the set was going to be, because it was like whatever the play was that month was what you had to perform in front of. It was on Sunday nights. It was $5 to get in, and you got free Bud and Bud Light all night. So then comics would just come and hang out, because they would pay $5 and then just drink Bud and Bud Light. And then if they had a spot to go up.
That's actually my heaven. That's
crazy.
It
was pretty great. And then, the show was over at 9, and then they just, the owner of the theater liked to drum and like do coke, but he liked to really like to play in a band. And Chris Porter and Josh Adam Myers and Bill Burr and like all these people who were kind of just finding each other just started jamming, and then we would just sing and play music and like vibe till 2 a.m.
That's
just
so
drinking.
Cool.
And so anyway, Jeff would come in there and try out the jokes, and I'd seen him quite a few times, and I said, "What's the next roast you're doing?" And he told me, and then I said, "What's your email?" And he gave it to me, and then I just sent him jokes every day all day until he couldn't ignore me anymore. And he was like, like this, I mean, I might use these, I might not. And like, there's not really a pay structure. I go, you don't have to pay me. Just remember me for a gig. Just remember me for a gig. And then he took me on a USO show. And then he invited me to his backyard for the Sheen roast. To just like write with them, and it was him and Tony Hinchcliffe and Matt Edgar back there, and Jeff was great. Like, I want to start the show with just like something like a quote, like friends, Romans, countrymen, or whatever. And he was like, like friends, roasters, comedians. And I go, lend Mike Tyson your ear. And then they, like Matt and Tony looked at me and they were so mad because they'd been sitting back there for 2 hours and they had not thought of that. And then I was just kind of in. Then so I had the first 2 jokes on that roast, and then Jeff got the burn right after that, and he hired me as a writer, and then I was off to the races.
Do you have a favorite roast joke or favorite roast jokes, top 3 or whatever that
one
you've
of my
written?
Favorites was during the what's his name? The Italian guy, James.
Gandolfini?
It was a Gandolfini jokes, but it was. Oh my gosh, who's the actor? It was. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna throw myself out this.
You've given
window.
no hints other than Italian actor.
Gosh, he's in the Spider-Man movies. He plays the friend whose dad is like the evil guy.
James Franco?
Yes. So thank you.
Yeah,
we did that.
Sure.
We would not do well on Thousand Pyramid.
That's
but
crazy. You went back to Spider-Man to
I
reference James Franco.
I don't know what else to say.
Like any Seth Rogen movie.
I know. It was like right after.
Freaks and Geeks.
Sorry. That's how much James Franco stuff I watched.
It is wild to just like when you notice somebody's like catalog of an actor. Like you went back to 2003 for that movie. That's crazy.
That was probably what I wrote the most jokes about, knowing me. But it was like, James Franco, you're an insult to Italian actors everywhere. James Gandolfini must be trying to roll over in his grave right now. And like Jeff did that joke, but he like stuttered when he said it, and then he didn't do a retake, so they didn't keep it in. And then I was like, oh sweet, I can use this again.
Oh hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And I've definitely used it again on like some other people.
What do you think your favorite things are to write about? Like roast, sports, family. What do you think you like writing about?
Sports is for sure my wheelhouse because that's what I know the most.
Sure.
Like
I just saw the new women's shows coming out. That's the women's sport. What is it called?
Women's Sports Now. It was
Women's Sports Now.
We're like finished season 1, so we're just probably won't start season 2 until March.
That's great. And it's on Roku, right?
It's on Roku. Yeah.
That's how
it was. So I don't know where it will be for season 2, but that's.
It's moved.
I don't know.
Oh,
waiting to find out.
Oh, so exciting.
So sports is definitely my wheelhouse.
It is what's drawn me to your comedy. Or when I started watching you 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whenever we came into each other's existence, your sports knowledge is incredible. And it is like better than most men. Mm-hmm. Will look at you and be like, this girl, she don't. and you can literally windmill dunk on these fools. It is one of my favorite things to watch, especially when you do those female ref jokes and you look at the guy with his arms crossed, you know he's mad. Mm-hmm. What got you into sports?
So I just kind of grew up in sports. My grandmother worked for the Oakland A's my whole life.
Doing what?
She gave out the free stuff at the gate. She was retired.
Hell yeah, dude.
She gave out the free stuff at the gate, and then she had a season ticket, so she would just go back to her seat and keep score. So she taught me to keep score. So I just always loved baseball. And then we moved to Georgia when I was 5, so we still like cheered for the A's. But, this was the late 80s, so, that was a great time to chear for the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
And then...
And maybe the last good time to cheer for the Oakland A's.
One of the last. And then I became a Braves fan, and it was just kind of, that's where it all really started. And then, obviously, going to the University of Georgia, that helped. And then I worked for the Braves when I moved to Georgia State because... They
Handing
had
out
just
free stuff at the gate like you
yeah,
were retired.
No, I
Yeah.
gave out. I shot the T-shirts out of the cannon and made balloon animals and
Dude,
did the
that's
pregame
sick.
interview. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
If there's a secondary job to athlete I could have at a stadium, it is T-shirt cannon operator.
Oh, we had to go to Orlando, Florida to learn how to do it for 2
What?
weeks.
Really?
So this company called Sports Magic was the one that started the whole business, and they started with the Orlando Magic. That's how they started, and then they were in all these different stadiums. They also followed Jimmy Buffett around and
Wow.
did his concerts and stuff too. And so we had to go
What
down
were
there
they?
and
What were some of the things they taught you?
well, you had to learn how to shoot the cannon not to the second deck because somebody died going from the second deck,
Oh.
and then we learned the slingshot approach, and then we had to learn how to make balloon animals. Some people learned to walk on stilts. Then we had all these games that we would play in the crowd, so it's like we had like a big helmet with a tomahawk, and it was like a ring toss. So it was just like a between innings, like keeping people.
Do you still have these skills? You think if we got you a T-shirt cannon, you could fire it up, or what?
I could
dude?
definitely, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But I could also still make some balloon animals every now and then.
Yeah.
And
What?
dust off that old.
What's your go-to balloon animal?
Always a dog was always my balloon animal
Always.
go-to because, and then kids would be like, I want a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'd be like, all right, I got you. And I would just make them a dog. And they're like, that doesn't look like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'm like, well, it's wearing a dog costume. And then they're like, oh, okay. I mean, they're 5 and they're dumb.
Yeah.
So that's what you get. But yeah, it was a great experience. It was a great job, like in college, my like junior and senior year of college. That's what I did. And it was a great time. It was 99 and 2000. And so we also did the pregame interview with an athlete in the Turner Field was brand new because of the Olympics. And so, I'm like interviewing Chipper Jones and John Rocker and Tom Glavine and Greg Maddox.
Do you have any good like interview athlete stories? Like someone spit on your shoes and they're like, "Fuck you, man." Or, no?
No, they were somewhere else. They were not in like they were up on the big screen, and I was just like the fan got to talk to them along with me. So the fan got to interview them and ask them specific questions.
Dude, what's your favorite color? And you're like, why did you swing at the outside pitch in the 4th? Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to get into my own criticisms of the team, but in '99 we went to the World Series, so I got to go to that.
Yeah.
We got swept by the Yankees, but here we are. And then
It happens
2000
to the best of us, kid. Let me tell you.
In 2000, we had the All-Star game in Atlanta, so they inducted the All-Millennium team that year, so I got
Okay.
to meet like Mark McGuire and Hank Aaron and
Oh, yeah.
Ted Williams.
I remember they had the 99 at Fenway,
Mm-hmm.
and that was
Yep.
like a big one. And then almost no one but Ted Williams died in between then. So 2000 must have been just as good.
Yeah, it was a pretty good time. I mean, I was also there. They retired Dale Murphy's number, and so we got to see that. And Dale Murphy was Mormon, that's how I found out because like his whole family came out onto the field, and I was like, is the team taking the field? Like, there were so many of them. But yeah, it was a great time.
Well, that was excellent. This has been excellent. I know you have your special out 42.
44.
44.
Hank
Fuck
Aaron's
me.
number.
Fuck me.
That's okay.
Hank
42,
Aaron.
Jackie Robinson. Not also
Yeah.
pretty great.
Just saying, pretty good for a white guy from Boston that wasn't racist. Do you have anything else you want? So website people can see your shows at, tickets, come see you.
Yeah, if you just follow me on socials, you'll see it's Sarah Tiana, Sarah with an H, Tiana with a Tiana. And I have a great podcast called Sports Bitches where we just like love sports but also gossip. So here we are.
I love that. Thank you so much for doing
You're
this.
welcome.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening.
Go Dogs.